Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's get after it.
But when it comes to unexplained glitches, one that's been drawing a lot of attention is when Selena Gomez tripped during the Silver Carpet Award in 2022. Check this out. Did you see that? While walking out of a photo shoot, Selena Gomez trips. The security guard then helps her out and she walks out of there normally. But there's something strange that most internet users seem to have noticed. If you pay close attention and if we zoom in on the video, you'll see that her foot appears to bend in a way that it's not supposed to. And this caught a lot of attention. While some believe that this is possibly a glitch in the simulation, others theorize that there's something else going on here. But I'm not too sure about this one. It could just be a matter of perspective and camera angle. But I want to know your thoughts. What do you really think is going on here? Is this possibly a glitch or something else? And why are so many people capturing these moments on camera? What's your take?
Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of videos of people falling and getting hurt. She probably just twisted that ankle and jumped up out of embarrassment and walked it off. I'm betting she felt it later on. I think that's all that's going on here. I think she fell, twisted her ankle, and that camera just happened to be at just the right angle to make it look very unnatural.
Patriots, I have this update just in. Someone in my comments, thank you, asked me, how did Uncle Ron die? I have some answers. Now, this is where it gets a little crazy. He died last month. He was only 59 years old, very young. Some people are whirling around that he died of that same pneumonia that Kim Porter had. Sounds a little bit shady. Sounds like maybe the diddler had him taken care of, because here's something real crazy. I had myself and my people reach out to his family because his TikTok page is still active and people in the comments are asking, what happened to Uncle Ron? What happened? What is the family doing? Deleting all of the comments. If you go over to Uncle Ron's TikTok page, try this, Patriots, I did it. Say, what happened to Ron? How did he expire? They delete your question. Why? Because they want to keep their family members safe and everyone else in their life that they care about, because the diddler is not done with his nastiness. Patriots, it is not safe for me to be spilling this tea. I will have another afternoon update this afternoon. Thank you very much. Secret Service Sam, over and out. Samson for president.
That's a heck of an accusation. I'm not going to give my opinion on whether or not I think Diddy is responsible for the death of his bodyguard. I don't have a clue. How could I? But with everything else going on with this case, you have to admit that's some awfully convenient timing. I'm sure that guy was going to be a witness in that trial, and dead men can't talk.
I have to say I definitely side with Joe Rogan. I, too, am a dragon believer. And another way to constantly distort and perverse our history. Dinosaurs are not from millions of years ago, but are in fact the dragons that all of our ancestors depicted in such great detail. Let's take a look at some of that evidence, like this temple in Cambodia.
This will come out. A dinosaur? Or a valbo?
How is it that this temple from Cambodia has a perfect depiction of a dinosaur thousands of years before their discovery? Or this oil painting from 1652, when zoomed in closer, shows large humans riding what appears to be dinosaurs. It's why this dictionary definition from 1946 describes them as now rare, nothing about mythical. It's why the Chinese zodiac shows all real animals, not all but one real animal. The Chinese, in fact, had an official dragon handler up until the 1700s. Much like the petrified remains of giants, there too are much petrified remains to be found of dragons. When the eyes are truly open, you can see this beautiful world for what it was truly. The lies of dinosaurs had to be installed into our history, much like most of the fabrications of it. It removes us from the divine creator, our true connections to this realm. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
Dragons and dinosaurs just had to be around during the time of man. There's just no other way you could explain them having so many depictions of dinosaurs that we only recently discovered. Unless ancient men also dug up fossilized remains and pieced them together to see what kind of shape they made, there just couldn't be any other explanation. I'm totally convinced that dragons were real and that a lot of the dinosaur remains we have today are actually dragon remains. What do y'all think?
With all the discussion about UFOs coming from our oceans, some people are starting to question past events that happened altogether. Many of you may remember this, but a few years ago, around 2021 and 2022, there was a series of accidental ocean fires, as well as US Navy tests where they were detonating massive bombs in the middle of the ocean. At the time, people didn't think too much of it, but with all the recent discussion about UFOs and their relationship to the ocean, some people are starting to theorize that these events weren't mere accidents and tests, but that these were planned, purposely executed, and targeted at underwater UAPs, and some people even going as far as to say that they were targeting a marine kingdom or underwater base altogether. Now obviously those are just theories and speculations, there's no hard evidence behind those claims, but I do remember seeing an interesting video around the same time of a swarm of UFOs over the ocean. I want you to check out that clip and let me know what you think in the comments.
God at all. Then all of a sudden, bam, what is that? Anybody tell me what that is? We're in the middle of the ocean. On a ferry. Nothing around. Look. Nothing around.
I don't buy this theory. We've seen time and time again that these things can outpace and outmaneuver anything that we can put in the air. Why in the world would we purposefully attack their underwater base unless we were doing it out of self-defense? It would literally be like poking a sleeping bear, and they've shown no signs of being aggressive toward us. This just wouldn't make any sense. Hey, if you're enjoying this video and you like this type of content, I make a new one just like it every day, Monday through Friday. It'd be awesome if you'd hit that subscribe button and come back tomorrow to join me. Also, check out my merch store at barry-stepp.com.
There is a UFO base in the Atlantic Ocean. This is according to an anonymous user on 4chan, and he posted back in April of 2023 and claimed to have this in-depth knowledge as someone who was involved with a secret crash retrieval program with the government. According to his story, these aliens are present in our oceans, and they have this mobile construction facility somewhere in the Bermuda Triangle, and perhaps other locations as well. Based on what he learned, the US found out that this facility builds UFOs or UAPs with specific purposes before being sent out to do whatever it is that they do. And they used to use pilots, but now they're mostly unmanned and controlled by AI. And they think that this facility has been on Earth for hundreds, if not thousands of years. I mean, what's really going on in these old paintings and carvings and petroglyphs? He also said that a number of times the US and other countries have sent in jets and submarines to investigate this base or to even try to attack it, but the facility's defense system vaporizes anything that comes close with malicious or aggressive intent. He says that it's believed that these beings aren't here to harm us. In fact, they seem more like zookeepers and are fairly indifferent towards humanity unless there's a big problem, i.e. this. He also claimed to have seen the non-human occupants of downed craft, and that these craft were also powered by a stable isotope of moscovium, or element 115. The same element that Bob Lazar said was the power source for the UFOs he worked on at S4 over 30 years ago. So was this guy telling the truth? Well, with all of the talk of disclosure and recent government hearings that are acknowledging that UFOs or UAPs exist, you really have to wonder what's actually going on.
I just find it hard to believe that someone with that type of clearance would be spewing out top secret information on 4chan, though it has happened before. If I had to guess, this is just somebody with a really solid theory who thought that this would be the best way to get people talking about it. I really like the theory, and it sounds like it connects a lot of dots, like where these things are coming from, why they're so prevalent around our oceans, why they haven't attacked us yet. I just think this is a really good idea that somebody proposed by giving themselves a false sense of authority on the topic.
Right now, there are 131 active deep underground military bases in the United States. That I was involved in building another base inside of Dulce, New Mexico, which is Los Alamos Laboratory. On the southwest part of the Archuleta Mesa, we built an underground facility, a better part of 3 cubic miles hollowed out underground. Then to the southwest of that, we were in the process of the early stages of building. We drilled 4 large tunnel-like holes. Some of them ran 2.5 miles under the surface. This is in late August of 1979. the equipment kept coming up broken. So we wanted to go down, we wanted to send somebody down there, a human observer, to find out what was going on. The large alien grays had been encamped there for, as best as believed possible, about 400 or 500 years. It had been one of their internal bases. And we drilled holes right on top of it. In this process, I was lowered down the basket of one of these holes, was sitting a 7-foot-tall alien gray, and I killed 2 of them. Yes, they're mortal, and they do die. However, in the process, one of them did this. All I remember is that he just kind of waved his hand in front of his chest, and the next thing I know, this blue beam hit me and just literally opened me up like a fish. And burnt my fingers right off of me. It was some form of electrical force, because the kind of like being hit by a lightning bolt burned all my toenails off of me. Completely crispy crittered my left foot. And there was a Green Beret that was right behind me that risked his life. In fact, he died. But he risked his life. He shoved me back in the basket and hit the button and took me up. He lost his life.
I just had to put that in here. That is a wild story. And that supposedly happened back in the 70s. There's no telling how many incidents we've probably had like this that are actually true. And I'm not saying this one isn't. I just don't know. But if these beings have been here hiding on Earth for thousands of years, it would only make sense that we would occasionally bump into them on accident. I just wonder, if they mean us no harm, why are they going so far out of their way to stay hidden? It just doesn't make any sense. Why not come out and live amongst us? I just feel like the initial shock of these things would wear off pretty quickly, and before you know it, you'd have a new normal.
We have both seen the film that was taken out of the Dulce facility. Why would somebody make pictures like this showing the creation of some sort of alien being? And this is a facility. This is a facility that's run by the United States government. I mean, with your tax money. Hamilton talked about the Dulce facility, and I've also heard about, genetic engineering programs at Area 51.
Yeah, there's no question that Dulce exists. I was the one that kind of led the research on that. I was at a meeting in Crestone, Colorado, and Tom Adams handed me a letter from a lady who lives in Las Vegas, and she was the one that tipped us off that this thing existed. So I talked to her, and she knew the location of some photos and videotape that had been taken inside Dulce by a guard who escaped during what they call the Dulce Wars of 1979. He used to contact her every 6 months, and he said, if I ever miss contacts 2 in a row for a year, you can go after this box, which they had hidden somewhere here in Nevada, that contained 6 minutes of videotape, 25 black and white photos, and some other documentation about what went on in Dulce. About 2 years ago, he did turn up missing. We never heard from him. And I think there was like 12 or 13 attempts after the box, but it had been hidden maybe at least 10 years ago in the terrain and the foliage and everything changed. I don't think they ever got it out.
He said on level 5, you'd walk on by and people would be in cages and screaming and begging for help, and he was told to,
I heard that.
To walk straight on through and not look or pay attention.
Yeah.
These people are all mad.
I heard that. And then from another source, Air Force engineering source, I heard that when he went there, they referred to it as Section D. And then Bob heard it referred to when he was up at the test site just once, and somebody said, mentions something about being shipped to Dulce, but that's the only reference he ever heard to it.
Now, I call these, the guys who are working in the facility as Igors, the invisible government's obedient robotons. So it really is a Frankenstein factory.
I've heard some wild claims about the facility in Dulce, New Mexico. What are y'all's thoughts on it? Do y'all think the stories are true? That they're doing some sort of genetic experiments there and making animal-human hybrids? Part of me just feels like there's no way the United States would be doing that in 2024. But then another part of me thinks it's the federal government. Look at all the other horrible things they've been caught doing. I don't really know what to think on this one.
We got breaking news. Another underground cable was just sabotaged. Shocker. This one connecting Germany and Finland. Of course, this is clearly not an accident. On top of that, Europe is preparing for World War III. And the biggest news that I just saw is that the Biden administration is moving to forgive almost $5 billion of loans to Ukraine. Yeah, seriously. They also vetoed a UN ceasefire resolution today. Does anyone else wonder if maybe allegedly the reason they're going to forgive that much money is because maybe some of that money is... Finish my sentence. I mean, this is a country that had more than 260 million in violations in their defense ministry last year. This is a leader who allegedly bought two $75 million yachts with some of this money too. Zelensky, baby. Oh, and we pay for their government too.
That underground cable, from what I've heard, they've stopped a Chinese ship that they think was responsible. Of course, that information came from our mainstream media, so put zero trust in that. It wouldn't surprise me if we found out a few months from now that it was the United States that severed those lines. It seems like we're always the ones putting more fuel on the fire. I don't see why anyone should expect this situation to be any different. I'm just thinking out loud, though. I haven't read that or anything.
Listen. Won't hear. This reset will be a huge shock when Americans catch on. That's why the average person won't hear a word about the story until it's obvious to just about everyone. And by then, it's going to be too late. Yep. In the months ahead, central banks around the world are planning to go digital. Many of the legacy banks you've heard of, where you probably even keep your money, like Bank of America, Chase, Citi, Wells Fargo, they're about to be reset, overhauled by a new type of technology called fintech, which is short for financial technology.
Yeah, can I ask, what exactly does that mean for the banks and all of us, you and me?
Essentially, it means the function of our banks is about to change. They probably won't raise public suspicion about it by changing the signs on your bank's branches, but according to my sources, the Federal Reserve will soon own all the banks, and your local branch, it's simply going to be like a licensee of the Fed. In other words, the banking infrastructure is being rebuilt from the ground up, and very few Americans are aware this is even happening. We are right on the verge of a once-in-a-generation opportunity to profit by investing in the companies that are building out the architecture for this massive shift.
Once that shift happens, it is game over for freedom to spend your money on whatever you want to spend it on. They will have total control over our finances and keep us all in check, keep us all compliant. This is absolutely terrifying. I hate fear-mongering and getting people worked up over nothing, but this is something I feel like we should all be worried about. This is step one in the start of the surveillance state. I feel like once they roll this out, social credit scores are just right around the corner.
Well, sadly, the death toll from this mass poisoning has grown overnight, with the US State Department confirming a male citizen has also sadly passed away after consuming methanol at the same backpackers where Holly Bowles and Bianca Jones consumed the toxic cocktail. Now, yesterday we heard from Sean Holly's father. Off camera, he told us he's really struggling to comprehend how his daughter is now on life support after setting off on a trip of a lifetime. Doctors here in Thailand are now bracing him for the worst news possible, but he says as a father, how could he possibly give up hope? Now, the Department of Foreign Affairs has been incredibly quiet for the past 10 days, although the Smart Travellers website has issued a warning to all Aussies. Anyone travelling through Southeast Asia is being warned to stay away from cocktails and instead to only drink from bottles or cans. Of course, I will have more on this developing story tonight on 7 News at 6.
I just came across this and wanted to throw it in here as a PSA. I looked it up and found this on methanol. It is colorless and has a similar smell to ethyl alcohol, the chemical substance found in alcoholic drinks. But methanol is dangerous for humans, and drinking just 25 milliliters or half a shot can be lethal. When you take that into consideration, that it's visually undetectable and smells like the alcohol that's supposed to be in the drink in the first place, this sounds intentional. They need to be investigating who made those drinks.
Do you remember this TikToker who suddenly died after claiming that he discovered a giant on top of a hill? Just months after his mysterious death, another man went viral for claiming that he saw a giant entering a massive secret door in the mountain.
Right up there. That thing was open. It opened completely up, and then it closed back up.
And he described it just like the recent video of an alleged giant sighting. The difference is that the giant door has a peephole in it.
And there's a little slot in it right up there. You can see that little slot where it looked like somebody was staring out of. Dude, giants are freaking real. I don't care what anybody says.
This video instantly went super viral. Immediately, fans requested that he go back and investigate further, and he immediately did.
We're gonna get up there. We're gonna get what we need to get done.
He also noticed suspicious marks on the way to the alleged giant door.
The spot in the mountain right here, as it goes up, that's really worn different from the rest of the hillside. It looks like drag marks, like something's dragging something up there. Like continuously dragging something, like pulling something up the hillside.
But his next video started to scare his fans because he realized that he's being followed just like Andrew Dawson.
We just been staying kind of low key. When I wake up in the morning and I'm going, this is what I run into. It's down the road. And then sometimes it's up the other side of the road. And sometimes it just follows me around town. and there's a white truck that does the same thing.
He's not faking it because he even caught these white trucks on camera.
White trucks.
I guess I'll be proven wrong if this dude ends up dead like the other guy did. But just because you've got a bunch of white trucks in your neighborhood does not mean that they're there following you. That's cool that we got another location where there's supposedly a giant located, but I think the guy's making up the trucks following him aspect of the story to legitimize it, and unfortunately that makes me question the whole thing.
Here's the way they look at it. Here's their metaphor for the end of innocence. Adam and Eve were held prisoner in the Garden of Eden by an unjust, cruel, and vindictive God. Until Lucifer, through his agent Satan, set man free from this garden by giving him the gift of intellect. Through the use of intellect, man will conquer the earth, will conquer nature, and will himself become God. It's taught in every Masonic temple in this land. Every secret brotherhood, every secret society, every mystical temple, every occult organization teaches the Luciferian philosophy. They do not believe in Lucifer. They do not believe in any entity called a devil, and they do not believe in God. It is a mistake for you to assume that they do. They are atheists in the strictest sense of the word. They are humanists.
I personally feel like this guy couldn't be further from the truth. Seeing how much these satanic elites believe in God is one of the things that's pushing me towards believing myself. If they believe so much that they're actively fighting on the side of the devil, and it looks like they are, that makes me think there must be something to the teachings of the Bible. And we've all heard the reports that they won't allow you to utter the name Jesus in some of these underground tunnels and military bases. If they didn't believe in it, why would they care if you spoke the name Jesus in their presence?
The fight was 100% fake, because the fight that they offered me, I was not allowed to win. So then I get a call from my buddy, who works with Jake, and goes, listen, I got Jake on the line right now. You're gonna make millions, but you're not allowed to win. I go, what do you mean I'm not allowed to win? Well, listen, the good thing about it, if you want to make a lot of money, you need to get knocked out. If I was to go by the score and lose, I'd make 2.7. If I go out by knockout, I was gonna win more like 7 to 8. You know, I asked him, I said, what if by accident I knock him out? Because I'm a very powerful guy. I couldn't get in there and give him a knockout, because then he's going to sue you for everything you have. He's going to sue you for all the losses that he has. He's going to sue you on the fact that you ruined his career as a boxer. I was like, don't sign me up for that one. I'm so glad that I didn't sign that NDA, because at the end of the day, now I can speak about it and I can share with you guys the truth of what's happening behind the scenes.
I don't know how to go about verifying this guy's information, but I watched that fight and nobody's going to convince me that it wasn't rigged. Tyson held back the entire fight. He could have easily walked away with a win. Just look at his training footage. The guy clearly still has it, but he didn't have anything once he stepped into that ring. I just wonder what's going to happen when it finally comes out that it was rigged. I personally know people that put money on that fight. It's going to ruin Jake Paul's career. I know this isn't typically the type of stuff that we cover on this channel, but this is absolutely a conspiracy theory that I'm keeping an eye on at the moment.
Did you hear about the trial, the big trial that's happening, that everyone should probably know about? I bet you didn't. I bet you don't know what trial I'm talking about. You know, lately too, everyone's been asking me, what are they distracting? What's going on that they're trying to distract us from? And I mean, we got a Hunter Biden trial coming in hot. You know, it's a whole stage to distract us from this. Yeah, this is happening. This is happening right now. The Panama Papers or the Pandora Papers, same thing. I love it. They made it so confusing for the average person. But yes, Pandora, Panama Papers, same thing. Basically, 8 years ago, a bunch of journalists revealed through leaked documents, like 14 million leaked documents, that all the rich people in the world were, shocker, laundering money and doing tax evasion with offshore companies in countries like Belize, Cyprus, the Virgin Islands. We're talking a pretty extensive list here. So if you go to Wikipedia and just look up list of people named, you get quite an extensive list. List of current heads of state, former heads of state, heads of government, heads of organizations, obviously business people. Oh, but look at that name. That's right. Our friend Zelensky, has multiple offshore corporations. Yeah. I'm gonna do a daily update on people named in the Panama Papers. Part 1 coming later tonight will be Zelensky. Stay tuned.
So we've given this dude billions of dollars. We know he's used it to buy 2 yachts, several vacation properties, and he's funneled a lot of the rest of it into a bunch of offshore accounts. Then the federal government says they're just going to forgive this loan? What a load of crap. They need to be tracking that money. Some of that has to be making its way back into the pockets of these politicians that keep sending this money over there in the first place. This is clearly money laundering, using U.S. tax dollars right out in the open. This is mind-blowing. But guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right there. I hope you enjoyed these clips that we watched together today. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and come back tomorrow to join me. And don't forget to check out my merch store at barry-stepp.com where you can order yourself a shirt or a hat or a hoodie. And don't forget to put your photo of your merch over in the Discord to get your photo in a video. But with all that out of the way, I hope everyone has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow.